好的，欢迎回来。
Alright guys, welcome back to Celestial Invitational. I'm D2. With me is Caldy, bringing you the English class again. English cast, excuse me. Again, we are piggybacking on the Chinese cast, so those aren't us. We are casting from our homes. Hope you are enjoying it thus far. We just saw Kalento defeat Shadowy 3 games to 2, and now we're going on to Tom60229 versus Chaoshen. And if you guys don't know Chaoshen, he is basically a Chinese cult favorite, and that cult started, that's his rise to fame started, as we see Tom60229 there. It started when NA played China in a big team match that Firebat, VLPS Dog, Death Star, and Tarray competed in. And basically, the American team more or less dominated, except for when they faced Chaoshen, who was able to snipe many Americans before he was brought down in the end. So had a really stellar score in that, and was basically the Chinese hope for them. And he was expected by many to qualify for BlizzCon. Unfortunately, fell short. And this is the first time we're going to see him since those BlizzCon qualifiers. But for now, we're going to look at Tom60229's decks right now. Looks like he's playing Freeze Mage with Reno Jackson, as well as Face Hunter, and finally it's going to be, looks like standard Oil Rogue with no heal but has the Belcher in there, as we do take a look at Chaoshen on the screen right now. Sorry, I talked for a long time. Cody, what do you think about this matchup in general?
It's going to be a bit complicated. There's 6 different classes here. So normally it's not something you see. I think the only noteworthy thing about Tom's deck was the double fireball and no torch, which is something you generally run one torch if you're running Reno Jackson. Now Chaoshen, double combo druid, fairly standard mid-range paladin, fairly standard, and then we have the what looks to be the Reno lock, which is extremely strong. So this is definitely an A-class lineup. This is what I'd probably bring to this tournament, or almost bring to the tournament if I was to pick only 3 classes. Now, I guess in terms of noteworthy things, this is just, I believe this is exactly the deck from the meta snapshot. Yeah, from the Temple meta snapshot, the Paladin list, which got number 1 in the last snapshot. So, yeah, templestorm.com, become legendary.
All right, yeah, big shout out to Templestorm. Thank you again. Obviously, Caldy being on Templestorm, and thanks again for allowing us to stream on their channel to get these games to you. But yeah, Chaoshen, extremely strong player. Obviously, Tom, multiple-time offline event winner. So this is going to be a huge match. I mean, I don't know who I want to pick here to win the game, or to win this overall series. Chaoshen, by the way, I believe he goes to one of the top universities in China, basically the MIT of China, and really strong in math there, obviously, and he was one of the better Grim Patron players before the nerf. I'm not sure if he brought it to this tournament, but looks like we're getting started with our first game, going to be that Face Hunter for Tom against the combo druid of Chaoshen.
Which is going to be heavily favored for the druid here. About one of the worst matchups you can have with the Face Hunter, but if you draw poorly as the druid, there's some options. Now, I feel like you generally want Keeper over Swipe, but in this scenario, Swipe would be good as well. But yeah, you were talking about Chaoshen being one of the stronger patron players before the nerf. Now, Tom was known as one of the weaker patron players before the nerf. Hilariously playing Warsong Commander on turn 3 against Druid. That's just something that happened. But yeah, so Tom is known as a great player with some decks, but just not as consistent with all of them. But he's definitely been turning it up since then, since that fiasco with turn 3 Warsong. Definitely check out Affinity for that. But yeah, talk a bit about, I guess, Tempo Storm. If you guys have been playing the ladder this season, I remember that yesterday I was playing the ladder and ranks, I think it was rank 16, yeah. One of the first games I played, I faced an optimized Secret Paladin, rank 16, you know.
Right.
Which got a good curve and just kind of, you know, was really, really strong. And why are you seeing optimized Secret Paladins at rank 16? It's because people are going online to templestorm.com and checking out the meta snapshot. It's brilliant, and I definitely recommend you guys check that out. Now, Chaoshen full on bluffing here.
Yeah,
no question about it.
Basically bluffing that either he's aggro druid or that he has some sort of iterate play that he could potentially make. And
Even living roots here, yeah, but he definitely sells it. I mean, you would play the living roots if you
yeah,
had it, so the bluff is a bit empty. I feel like he's bluffing.
yeah, I don't
Innovate,
think
which
you.
is fair enough.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think you can really bluff Living Roots here. You would never not play Living Roots on turn one if you had it in your hand. But yeah, more likely bluffing that he has, some sort of Innervate Shade maybe, but doesn't want to commit to that, something like that. But yeah, just the full mind games on turn one of this best of 5 series. Now, Tom has an interesting decision whether or not he wants to go for the Coin Knife Juggler or he wants to go for that Abusive Sergeant. Obviously, he can coin, 2-drop into, his Knife Juggler into Glaive Zuka into Animal Companion. But yeah, kind of a tough decision here. Obviously, that Abusive Sergeant can trade into the Darnassus as well, and or using that Glaive Zuka, obviously. But both players.
I personally, I personally like the abusive here. I feel like it's too risky to go for the juggler. The game would just be over almost with the wrath because there's no follow up. But the hand is just very unfortunate here. Now there is the option of Wild Growth. There is the option of Darnassus. I kind of like Wild Growth actually here. What do you think?
I think I like the Darnassus just to contest the board right now. I mean, it kind of forces a response out of your opponent, and that can buy you time as well. Whereas Wild Growth, you're basically just throwing the turn back to your opponent and letting them do whatever they want. And you also don't have a 4-drop in hand at the moment anyway. So it would be obviously a lot different if you had Pilot Shredder in your hand and really favored getting that card out. But as it stands, he can just Wild Growth and Hero, or I guess it would just be Wild Growth next turn if the Darnassus dies. But yeah, I think going this order is probably a bit better to get the minion out first.
My idea would be to look at the Darnassus plus hero powering the abusive as a 4-drop and guaranteeing that, because if he has a quick shot or several other things here, you're just gonna be stuck with losing out on the hero power. Because yeah, let's face it, if he'd gone for the Wild Growth last turn, he could have now also hero powered down the abusive, but it's obviously very hard for him to know beforehand because he doesn't know the opponent's hand. So maybe a bit biased because I can see both hands. But yeah, this seems kind of tough here. Wild Growth the hero power. Again, I think
the other consideration is that if you do go for the Wild Growth, then your opponent gets to play essentially whatever they want. So maybe he could have gone for, speaking of Tom, could have gone for a Coin Animal Companion or gone for the Knife Juggler, and that would have been difficult to deal with other than using your swipe, and then you're giving the initiative back to your opponent once more. So I think that's probably what was coming into Chaoshen's mind. Needs to get that minion out as quickly as possible to kind of just slow down the opponent. Now he's stuck with another tough decision here. Obviously, it can go a number of ways, whether he wants to swipe here off curve or go with that Belcher, but then you're kind of, allowing that Leok to get its work in with that extra, damage buff. So again, what would you do here?
I'm kind of leaning towards the Belcher, but it's a super tough call though. I guess the Belcher would die, but do you value swipe above Belcher? Generally, because the swipe could get a lot more value next turn, I feel, because if you can just suffer through this one, but then you have no taunt, so you'll be in a full-on race. Whereas if you go swipe now, you could just start racing your next turn. But I think to notice the Animal Companion is about the strongest card you have as aggro hunter against Druid. And Tom managed to draw both of them. On the flip side, though, there was no Hunter Creeper or Scientist, which are also very strong cards against Druid. But he gets the Worgen.
Yeah, one of the things I guess Chaoshen was thinking about as well here is that this Belcher, the earlier you drop it, the less likely your opponent is to have an Owl. So most likely it's going to provide you that full 7 damage healing, and then obviously you can play on curve with the swipe and hero power next turn. So that's probably part of his thinking. Looks like we got another Leok here, Neverhuffer, and Chaoshen in a bit of trouble. These guys are pretty beefy. I mean, you don't always want Leok, but obviously, but I mean, these guys are pretty hard to deal with. I mean, I suppose he could take care of them with the Force Nature Innervate Hero Power, but you're throwing away your Innervate, and you're, again, giving the initiative to your opponent. Good news for Chaoshen, though, is it's turn 6, and he's still in 25 health.
I think to mention, though, is the sequencing last turn. He went for the Glaive Suka first, And that's only better if he hits the Abuser Sergeant and rolls a Leok. So it's a 50-50, and then a 1 in 3
Right.
on top of that. So 5 times out of 6, it's better to go for the Armored Companion first. So bit of
Well,
a rough call there, it seems to be.
I suppose if he gets the Huffer, it doesn't matter. Uh, I mean, he doesn't want the buff to hit a Huffer, right? Although I guess he could just attack in first, but
Yeah, you could attack him first. Yeah.
right, right. Okay. In any case, we are going to get. Oh, not going to get a clear. All right. So Chaoshen's going to mostly clear, but not clear the entire thing. Has that swipe. Realizes that he's willing to take an extra 3 damage here. Well, I guess. Oh, I guess he's taking an extra 1 damage. I guess because he would be hero powering it and using his life total anyway. So, in the end, it might work out for him, but he is kind of committing himself to using his swipe right now. Otherwise, he is going to be taking that extra damage.
Yeah, he seems to be saving up for the Acid Drake Innovate swipe combo, which should make things fall apart for Tom pretty quickly. We see Tom committing. I think this is 100% what you need to do in this scenario. He goes for the hero power. I really like that myself. Seems like a good idea, but it's a bit all in. But I think it's something you need to do. A second Innovate, brilliant. Draws first, correct sequencing. Sorry?
No, nothing. I was just looking at maybe potentially going for the Ancient of Lore and then double innervate swipe, but I mean it's pretty much the same thing, I guess, in the end. Chaoshen hovering over that innervate, maybe wanting to use a hero power, but yeah, after Chaoshen, it looked like he was in the back foot the entire time, but I mean his board, the sequencing of plays or the sequencing of this game so far, it's just been just annoying enough for Chaoshen or for Tom to deal with what Chaoshen has thrown out that Chaoshen has been able to maintain a decent life total. Obviously, with that Darnassus, Tom had to deal with that right away, and then the Sludge Belcher a couple turns later, Tom had to deal with that. So every single turn, it's just been one thing after another that Tom has had to deal with. That's been less damage to the face. However, now with the Arcane Golem coming out, games are starting to end a bit here. Chaoshen 1 damage off lethal though with this Savage Ore pickup.
Kind of a tough call here. Yeah, he may need to possibly heal even.
Yeah, what if you just heal here and then actually attack the face with the Azure Drake?
It's a strong play, yeah.
Because if you trade with the Arcane Golem, you're really hoping that you're... Although I guess you could trade too, because if you hero power the face, then your opponent's at 21, and then he still dies to combo. But that really relies on your Ancient of Lore living, but it typically lives in the situation, so I think either play might be okay. Although you're not really gonna die from the 17. This is really tough though. I mean, what do you think is a better play, hitting face or trading right here?
I'm gonna go with hitting face actually. Yeah.
Right.
Once more, because I feel like you're playing a bit scared if you trade, but and Chaoshen, if you go for the face, I'm gonna be really impressed.
Yeah, it goes for the face there. Realizes his opponent has 3 cards and 7 mana, so unlikely to be able to, get the lethal, and also unlikely to be able to clear this board at the moment. And yeah, it looks like Tom has really nothing to do, no way to clear this board, and so that's going to be a win for Chaoshen once Tom is able to finish his turn.
No question. I mean, if we think about the combination that would be lethal there, we're looking at what Arcane Golem, double quickshot wouldn't even been enough, So, well played to Chaoshen.
Yeah, definitely.
He's really impressed me. But generally, if we think about aggro hunter, or face hunter, it generally doesn't do well against Druid. And the win scenario is
the BM comes out.
Full on BM. But yeah, the win scenario is if the Druid doesn't draw Wild Growth, Darnassus, or the Innovate. Generally, the Darnassus is not as important as the Wild Growth. But yeah, here we saw Chaoshen draw all 3 of them. So
yeah, exactly.
It's just too
pretty
much
perfect,
to deal
right?
with.
Pretty much. I mean, sometimes you draw too much ramp, but he had the perfect mix, excuse me, of ramp and minions to play and spells to use that game. So as good as you're basically going to get when you're a druid facing off against a hunter. And even Tom with a decent hand wasn't able to take that match because of that super solid draw from Chaoshen. It is going to be 1-0 lead for him, and Tom is left with his Mage, Hunter, and Rogue, whereas Chaoshen now picks from Paladin and Warlock.
I guess another thing to mention is the Reno Lock, and that's such a strong deck. I'm excited to see how that goes. You have so many different cards. I believe it's one Shadow Flame, one Hellfire, one Demon Wrath, even.
Yeah, I mean sometimes you even see Twisting Nether in that deck as well. But yeah, we will see what he comes up with. Has triple heal in hand actually at the moment. And I've actually not really seen this particular matchup too much. That being obviously the Oil Rogue versus the Reno Warlock. I imagine it would be good for the Reno Warlock just because you run the Rogue out of damage.
Mm-hmm. Generally, yeah. I know about Dragon Warlock against Rogue.
Mm-hmm.
I used to play Rogue a lot when Dragon Warlock was popular, and Rogue was slightly favored against Dragon Warlock, but I feel like it's going to be tougher. It's going to come down to the AoE. It's going to come down to the draw for Tom. Does he draw the sprint? He probably is expecting to face Sue, I would have thought. So generally you wouldn't really want Elden Ring against this. Now Zombie Chow, Implosion is kind of weak. Zombie Chow, not bad.
Yeah,
so kind of a mediocre hand here.
Yeah, Zombie Chow getting to play out in turn 1 is pretty nice. Tom, really interestingly, kept the Earthen Ring Farseer and that Violet Teacher just to maximize, the amount of minions in his hand. Really interesting play, though. He does pick up the Van Cleave. It'll be interesting to see if he goes for the immediate 4/4 or waits for the chance to get something bigger.
It's a tough call here. But yeah, I'm kind of liking Tom's hand, though. He seems to have everything he needs. I wonder if he's actually going to go for turn 2, even Edwin, into possibly a Elden Ring there into Violet Teacher. Wouldn't be the best thing. Maybe if he gets a prep, it would be possible. Just go YOLO for an 8/8.
Yeah, I mean, well, going YOLO for an 8 is pretty risky because obviously this Reno Warlock is going to be having at least one BGH. Well, I say at least, it should be one BGH, but Chaoshen doesn't play the Zombie Chow. Do you understand why?
I think it has to be to not reveal what he's playing.
Huh.
Taking a handlock, maybe that's it.
Yeah, realizing that could give away what he's doing, and At the same
Also,
time,
yeah,
though, that Zombie Chow does provide a bit of resistance. Is able to do some combat on the board. Obviously, wouldn't be able to deal with 3/3s very well. So I guess maybe that's his reasoning as well, because there's nothing that Zombie Chow trades well into at all. Actually, probably didn't want to see that Zombie Chow at all if that's the case.
I mean, what we've been seeing so far from Chaoshen is a lot of bluffs, a lot of mining games. We saw him hover over cards again and again here. Good thing he didn't prep the fan like I was talking about, because Chaoshen toughed actually big commander here. So I think it was definitely a bluff for him to skip the Zombie Chow. It's a tough call. I mean, the Rogue has a relatively easy time to deal with the Zombie Chow generally, if you don't have a follow-up to it. Backstab Deadly Poison, either or pretty common. Even he gives him something to attack, you can just attack with the 1/1 weapon a few times. Yeah, this is a tough call for Chaoshen. I think maybe tap might even be the correct play here.
Yeah, I mean, tap, do nothing could be something, but you take quite a bit of damage doing so. He could play the Temple BGH, but in China, Dr. Boom in Rogue is somewhat common, so that could be something that's in his mind right now. Obviously, Tom60229 is from the Taiwan region, so it's a bit different. And looks like Chaoshen goes for that BGH, doesn't want to just leave his opponent with, a free, just having the board by himself. Was risking the backstab and the deadly poison. Tom has to use the eviscerate, which is, I mean, he picks up that card, which is nice for him, but at the same time, I don't think Chaoshen is too sad about that, because now that's an eviscerate that's not going to his face later in the game to burn him out.
Yeah, I'd be pretty happy about that. I think to mention is okay, it's going to be a 4/7, but it's not as vulnerable to sap. Now, the Belcher is pretty perfect here.
One thing, I mean, Chaoshen does have a pretty clean kill using this Defender of Argus
I kind of
onto.
like I kind of like Cho and Defender Vargas even better, yeah, to kill the Violet teacher. But yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. You could kill the Vile Teacher by doing this play. However, if you buff the Zombie Chow, you kind of give a free kill for this Van Cleef onto there, and you don't have one damage in hand. I guess other than the Implosion or maybe a Demon Wrath, but that obviously hurts your own minions as well.
No question here now, and Tom is from Taiwan, probably known as the strongest player from Taiwan even. Yeah, been really solid in the qualifiers. But now Taiwan is not known as the strongest region in Hearthstone.
Hmm.
But Tom has definitely been showing, I've been proving that wrong. I remember there was
Well,
a scene from a qualifier. It was a handlock mirror where
mm.
Owl was played on turn two on curve with nothing on the board. I remember that there's a specific thing that was mentioned. It was in a final in a Taiwanese tournament.
Mm.
But yeah, it may have also been just been a misclick, but it's something that European pros talk about a lot. Now, Demon Wrath wouldn't be too bad here if you trade.
Yeah, it looks like he's just going to go for the trade. Going to get the Sylvanas on board, which is pretty annoying for Rogue to deal with. It would seem counterintuitive, right? Because, to deal with Sylvanas, or, I mean, you put Sylvanas on a board with nothing from your opponent, but a lot of times, Rogues like to be efficient with their removal, and that means using things like SI7 Agent, and that's not an option for Tom. He's not able to get the SI7 Agent out to finish that off, because obviously it gets stolen. Can't use things like Tinkers on the same turn as well because obviously you get a buff minion soul in that situation. So even something like Fan Eviscerates, I mean, you're using your entire turn and you're giving back initiative to Chaoshen. So I kind of like just playing out the Sylvanas here and making life difficult for Tom.
Yeah, absolutely. Here, I think you mentioned the rogues have a very easy time of dealing 4 damage, but when it comes to 5, it's a lot tougher when there's a taunt minion up because you'd think about something like backstab deadly poison would be the easiest way to go about that. Now you start with the fan and then go for the SI.
Mm,
Contest this, but it's not clean at all.
right. Alright, so Chaoshen does have the ability to use Implosion here. And
Hmm.
if he misses, maybe you try to go for Mortal Coil off the Dark Peddler. But yeah, has a couple options here. Probably wants to keep this Sylvanas alive. And again, the easiest way to do the 2 damage, the final 2 damage to the Sylvanas would be that SAS7 agent. So I think it's perfectly fine to keep the threat of the Sylvanas on board.
I think there's also an option just to implosion the Sylvanas. Go face and implosion the Sylvanas.
Right, right. Or you could Bane of Doom your Sylvanas.
Pain of Doom the Sylvanas, wow, yeah. Next level. It's not bad, yeah. Objectively, it's not bad. But I like this though also from Chaos, and this seems strong.
Yeah, just put a blocker in the way, and either the SI7 agent has to be thrown in, or there's still tension on the board with that Sylvanas. So looks like Tom is going to go for the prep sprint. We do see a Doctor Boom in hand, so Chaoshen going to be pretty sad that he used his Big Game Hunter earlier, though it did eat up an Eviscerate. So in the end, not the worst situation for him that he has to face a Doctor Boom. He might be able to deal with it kind of the hard way. But what does Tom do here as we see the rocket shark come onto the screen and block our view again? But yeah, has some options here. Looks like it's just going to be sap and a clear onto this Sylvanas. Probably the most clean way he could have dealt with this.
No question about that here. No Reno though in play, so I think this might be possibly looking a bit rough on Chaoshin. He gets the Voidwalker and the Mortal Coil. I feel like the Mortal Coil would be kind of strong here. That's probably what I would keep if I was him. But
Mm,
he may have a second Mortal Coil in hand in his deck. So that would limit Reno, but it should be fairly easy to get rid of the Mortal Coil though. It's only 1 mana, so it doesn't feel worried about that. I mean, currently there'll be 1 in hand and 1 in deck, so the Reno will still work.
yeah, absolutely. So it looks like it's a pretty cool play here by Tom. Going to be using backstab and fan to get rid of this pretty cleanly, and that's the the efficiency of Rogue, right? You're able to make these really clean plays and deal with your opponent's board with all that removal that they have in hand. And now Chaoshen is on the back foot once again. Looks like he's gonna go for the misses.
Demon Wrath can can help him out here though, but it's not clean. He has the option also just Mortal Coil and in Gang Boss. I wouldn't mind that. Bane of Doom also a possibility.
Right. I mean, you're not
I
really
kind of
worried
like.
about spell damage too much right here, right? Unless you're worried about dying, which is unlikely to happen since you've already seen prep. I mean, typically it requires a prep for you to die here. So yeah, I don't think he should be too worried about dying right now. So maybe yeah, like you said, just the Mortal Coil and in-game boss would be reasonable.
Yeah, let's say he probably wishes that you would have hit for three there and able to Mortal Coil the Talonus, but it's not game breaking. I think. I would go with Bane of Doom here.
Right, right. Okay, let's see what he gets off of it. It's going to be, what's that thing called again?
That's a tough call.
It's something guard, right?
Felguard?
Felguard? Is that right?
I think so.
Right, something like that. Felguard. It's a 3 mana 3/5 that destroys a mana crystal. But all right, you can look that up.
It
In
is
any case,
Felguard, yeah.
all right, Felguard. All right. So pretty solid minion overall. Gets a toss dingo out of that, so not too bad. Good stat target though for Tom. Though I think Chaoshen can play it next turn, and he'll still have 10 mana the following turn. So I don't think it matters too much. In fact, that's actually not bad to play here. It's basically a 3 mana toss dingo with no downside from here on out.
Yeah, and also gets buffed by Mal'Ganis even. But Emperor coming down, you'd think it's preferably want to deal with the Azure Drake. It's a bit rough, but I mean, he can go for the taunt on top of that. It's going to be really strong.
Yeah, absolutely. It does have the possibility for that strong turn. However, this, Azure Drake is pretty. I mean, it's pretty annoying, right? I mean, you don't really want to siphon soul that, especially because there's things in the future, and playing the Thorison feels good to get everything cheaper, but at the same time, that just leaving spell damage on the board is a big threat. So, Chaoshen, you can see him looking at the sidebar here, wondering why there was a sap, and wondering if there's an ulterior motive for Tom's play. Maybe he's worried about dying right here as Chaoshen.
I think there's no question about that. Yeah, I mean, any sort of oil flurry type of play would be devastating with prep, but we see that Tom doesn't really have what he needs to have to finish off this game, and it's going to be problematic for him to deal with this Emperor. Prep is strong though, yeah. What can he do here? Realistically, he can't really clear. He's gonna just, oh yeah.
Yeah, he has a perfect amount of cards to be able to just prep sprint tier. Chaoshen not really too happy about this situation. And yeah, I mean, Tom still has 6 mana to be able to do what he wants in the situation. Can go for the Tinker and Flurry to just clear this board and get 7 damage to face, not to mention the 5 from the Flurry. So yeah, it looks like he's just gonna go for it. Going to be just 12 damage to face right here, right now, and Chaoshen, is going to be feeling the heat.
No question. Now we have to be seeing the Siphon Soul, but I think to mention though is there is, I believe, one Molten Giant in this deck in this Reno luck. But where's Reno Jackson? We need Reno Jackson right now.
Yeah, Reno Jackson would be an amazing card to have at the moment. Speaking of the damage from Tom, if Chaoshen uses the Siphon Soul here, which I imagine he might go for that, he won't be in danger of dying, at least as like we see from Tom's deck. And
he could also just go. Sorry, I to cut you off. I think he could also just have gone for Jirax's attack, Mortal Coil, and gone for Doom for an Infernal. Stays at 8 health, 1 more health than now. He has an Infernal on the board and already hits Jirax's.
But yeah, I mean, that's obviously could have been the play, but in any case, Tom is able to top deck that second Deadly Poison. He's going to attack the face and Blade Flurry 4/5, and that's going to be game for Tom. He ties up the series 1-1, and we are in a dogfight here. Chaoshen with his Paladin and Warlock left, Tom with his Mage and Hunter left.
Yeah, no question. The draws were a bit unfortunate here, I felt, for Chaoshen. I liked his play though, especially the Bane of Doom. He missed out on the, I guess, even the Zombie Jar now in hindsight. He rolled 2 on the important Implosion that ended up not being too good for him. Tom ended up having kind of a strong hand, I think, overall. He kind of had a curve that filled out nicely into the late game finisher, so everything kind of went right for Tom here. And he's going to go now for, I believe, the Freeze Mates against Paladin, which is really strong for the Freeze Mates.
Yeah, definitely strong for the Freeze Mates here. Though, It will be interesting to see. Do you remember how many heals there were in this Paladin to maybe come back?
There's one heal bot and one Lothep. Yep.
Right. So that's basically all that Chaoshen has to work with to kind of deny what Tom has to offer.
I guess lay on hands. Sorry. It's also lay on hands. But yeah.
All right. So, I mean, despite that healing, I think Chaoshen obviously he's going to be looking to finish out the game as quickly as possible. Just put pressure on the freeze mates. That's really all you can do as the paladin in this situation, as the mid-range paladin. And Chaoshen kind of contemplating his hand right here, wondering what to keep. He doesn't know, obviously, that his opponent is freeze mage. He's only seen the rogue and the hunter so far. So wondering what to keep. We know from our vantage point that keeping the quartermaster wouldn't be a bad keep here, because most likely would be able to get off that combo, but gets an okay draw, is able to potentially put some pressure on with this. Zombie Chow obviously something that can be on the board to contest things like Mad Scientists and Loot Hoarders, but obviously healing your opponent as the freeze mage, not the best situation.
Yeah, it's about putting the pressure on really early and keeping the pressure up. Now, this is favored for the freeze mage, no question, but it's not a complete walkover like freeze mage is against Dragon Priest or against Secret Paladin. I mean, I think to mention, yeah, there's going to be a heal bot, there's going to be a lay on hands. Again, and against the Doomsayers, Chaoshen does have one equality and one owl. We need to draw those, and that'll probably be what the game is about. We see one novice engineer and one loot hoarder, so yeah, we know this is going to be the Reno deck, and Reno may be important in this game just to buy Tom more time. But it's looking good for Tom though overall in this series. I feel like the Reno lock may struggle potentially against Aggro Hunter. I think it's not favored. So I like Tom's idea of just going for freeze mage because it's strong against both the paladin and the warlock. Also waiting until the I guess the druid is out because the druid would demolish this freeze mage. Now we have the option of possibly coin Shredder or Muster. I think Muster is vastly stronger in this case.
Yeah, and we see Chaoshen kind of agonizing here. He didn't know what secret or what mage it was at the beginning, but now he's pretty sure after seeing a mad scientist into an Arcade Intellect. Not something you typically do as, Tempo Mage, even though you do have those cards. Typically you want to be making a splash onto the board, so Chaoshen not liking the fact that he's into this unfavored matchup, and yeah, like he said earlier, Tom definitely going for the strategy of he's going to take this game and then from there get as many chances to win with his hunter as possible. Chaoshen, on the other hand, just kind of try to make this work as best as he can, and Tom is not happy to see the Muster for Battle come up, and a lot of pressure coming onto him right now.
This is an easy thing for me to look at. If you look at, potentially taking 2 damage, the thing about playing against freeze mages is the health from 30 to 20 is completely you can just throw it away. It doesn't matter if you're 30 or 20 generally, because the Alexstrasza is going to be coming down. And if you have 20 health or 30 health, it doesn't matter against Alexstrasza. Whereas below 20, it's every life is critical. Now we have no Frost Nova for Tom. We have a strong board here. Could it possibly double Doomsayer be what he needs? Then he has no way of clearing. There's the option of just Novice Engineer or potentially even Acolyte Ping, I think. Then he's going to be leading another Ice Block. So this is about the 40% scenario that the Paladin needed to win this match.
Yeah, absolutely. It's looking really bad for him in this situation. And it looks like Tom's going to go for the immediate heal with that Zombie Chow. And how much damage do we have? We have 12 on the board at the moment, and no additional damage in hand from Chaoshen. So unable to pop the block this turn. I imagine he's just going to go for as annoying a board as possible. Probably kill off this Acolyte before it draws too many cards for Tom, and then just play the Shredder, and then go the rest face. What do you think?
It looks strong. I don't mind that. We put him down to 7 health, and if Tom freezes, he is going to be staying out of lethal range. If he doesn't freeze, he's going to be needing another Ice Block. So So that's happening. Chaoshen putting all the easy stuff away early on. Yeah, this is correct. If he has a freeze, he's going to survive. If he doesn't, he's not going to survive. So it's just might as well throw away the Mercenary Cone of Cold drawn here.
Yeah, also puts the Shredder on the middle to the right side, not completely in the middle, and that's basically to buff as much stuff as possible, but also sort of play around Cold and Cold. But yeah, Tom fortunate to pick up that Frost Nova to be able to, potentially clear off this board, and now it's looking like he's got a stronger foothold, much stronger than he did a turn ago.
Yeah, that's spot on here. I think even saving the weapon might be important, and I want to talk about why, and that's because you could then equality and kill Doomsayer later on with the weapon. Whereas you're probably going to be going for Dr. Boom next turn. You have 6 health, so that will make you Doomsayer proof. Because if you go for a Doomsayer, you could just end turn and everything clears, and you get the bombs to face. But yeah, I don't know. If he isn't planning on going for the muster for battle next turn, then why not save the weapon and have more options?
Yeah, that's true. I guess he figures he just saw the Doomsayer, so unlikely he's going to see another one, and likely to see the muster for battle somewhat soon. Chaoshen now, he's shaking his head. He's not happy with what he sees, and what do you think he's worried about here? Seeing that Thorson, what could get discounted here? I guess the Alex draws on the following turn to kind of push him out of range. But yeah, I imagine he's just gonna go for the strongest play possible, and that is to play the Doctor Boom. Has really no way to kill the Thorson anyway, so just might as well do the most powerful thing that you can.
Yeah, I mean, Chaoshen is playing really well, but he's kind of acting like a bit of a drama queen here, getting really upset about minor things. So emotional, this player.
Right, but Tom going to go on the offensive, not even healing himself. And Tom probably realizing that Chaoshen doesn't have any quality in hand, he probably would have used it to, deal with the Doomsayer earlier. And now Chaoshen is really worried about his potential life total. Does pick up the Belcher, which would be pretty nice. Oh, completely kills off the Thorson there with the Boombot. It's really nice for him, but yeah, that Belcher just might end up saving him here. Although he's a little bit concerned with whether or not he should be going for.
I think this was a mistake. Sorry, I think what I would like them to go for would be outdooring the Alexstrasza and going for the Consecrate, because then you proc it down to 1. You keep the Boombot alive.
Mm-hmm. Well, what he could
not?
do
Yeah.
is Aldor as well as Belch. I guess that doesn't really make too much sense, right? Because if you're worried about dying from direct damage in hand, then it's not going to matter if you Aldor the Alexstrasza. But I guess it makes it harder to get through this Belch in the first place. Let's see if Tom can pick up lethal. Gonna be the 0-mana Novice Engineer first. A free draw, obviously. Does not pick it up. Picks up the Ice Barrier instead. And looking at the board right now, that bring up to 12, and I believe Chaoshen would have enough to kill him in that instance, so cannot just play the Ice Barrier here. Could go with Ice Barrier, Cone of Cold.
If we flip this around, then go for the play that I wanted to go for, in terms of going for, both 1 wants to consecrate, then both 1 wants to face, putting to 1 down to 1 health. He wouldn't have options now.
Yeah.
The options that he does have right now, now he can ping and Cone of Cold and be fine.
Oh, looks like he's going to go for just the Cone of Cold and Doomsayer.
Okay. This is risky, yeah.
So what can Chaoshen do from here? He is 1 damage short, it seems like, of being able to clear the Doomsayer right now.
I think there's no reason to clear Doomsayer. I think what I'll just want to look at now is Master of Battle. That is really all in, though. No question about that. It's so all in. As if you have a Reno, you just lose the game. But now Leon Hands, he figures at this point it's too late to do anything about the Doomsayer. Keeper of Aldor, Keeper Ulderman here. Be nice to have that last turn. But yeah, Healbot on top of this could maybe Chaoshen just outlast Tom here?
Maybe, I mean, potentially. Looks, though, I mean, this ice barrier is obviously a big deal, as well as Tom being able to get two fireballs from this Antonidas. Challenge, another thing that's probably in his mind right now, seeing that Novice Engineer probably tells him almost for certain that this is going to be a Reno version of the Warlock deck. So, um, yeah, that's something that's probably in the back of his mind right now. He could get Reno at any point. But yeah, this is going. This is a really back and forth game. Tom, doesn't have the requisite damage to kill Chaoshen right now, though he does have the damage over 2 turns. But he doesn't know that Chaoshen has that heal bot to heal out of range, and this is just this is crazy, honestly.
Denying that equality on top of that, but there's nothing left to equality at this point. Both Doomsayers out, Antonidas out, Ice Raza is out. Maybe Reno would be something that would be equality, but yeah, I mean, when you heal bot now, what's going to be the follow-up? A Consecrate even? Is that what you want to
Yeah,
go
I
for?
think he might use Consecrate just to not miss the damage here and make your mini bot just as annoying. But looks like he's just gonna go for a bigger board. Save the Consecrate for later in case his face gets frozen, potentially. Though he is filling up the board, which means he can't potentially use the Quartermaster here. If
No,
there's
yeah,
some sort of
I
Frost
want to
Nova.
talk about the slide knot that he had in the end, Chaoshen. I think he realizes that he shouldn't have hero power there.
Yeah.
And the reason is then you can't go for the Quartermaster. But now, Fireball to the face, and he is at 13. Is it not going to work for Tom?
I mean, he just has to pick up damage, right? Oh, wow, True Silvers are really big
Oh,
here to get extra damage in and to be able to heal. Really big card for Chaoshen. But we'll see what Tom goes for. If he decides to use the Blizzard here or not. What does he pick up? Picks a Fireball. That's
that's
not enough
probably
damage. But
best possible
yeah,
draw, though.
it'll be enough. I mean, unless Chaoshen, I mean, even if Chaoshen runs because on Mystic he can't play it either. So I feel like this is
Yeah.
just a win for Tom, unless there's somehow more healing for Chaoshen.
I mean, yeah, the Chaoshen
Oh,
has the 2 healing from 2 silver, so it's going to go to 16. This is going to be barely not enough, it seems. Oof.
oh, okay, right. He is gonna go for the Blizzard. I guess he doesn't want his pop to be or his block to be popped at the moment. Chaoshen unable to do that right now. 1 damage off actually, but
I mean, yeah, if he can somehow stop here for a few turns, he only needs 2 more to just be able to ping Chaoshen down. But not what we were expecting, going into this game, and this would go to a slugfest here.
I mean,
Going to the
one
late
Reno
game.
would just basically win the game for Tom, though, right? So,
Almost, but if you flip that around though,
right. In any case, Tom has an option here to go for the fireballs to face and then hope that he draws into something. Though, what can he draw into? A Frostbolt? I think he's used both Ice Lances, right?
use both Icelanders, yeah.
So he can draw into a Frostbolt. He doesn't have Roaring Torch in his deck.
There's potential for, I believe, a Pyroblast, right? But I don't think people generally run that if they're running Reno. I think pinging face is the correct play. There's no way to go about not having lethal, and if
Right.
you don't do lethal, it's gonna come down to what is it? Yeah, top decking it next turn or losing. But 2 health, don't feel good about that
Is there a
as a
heal
pal.
Murloc? We all know that there's not. There's a charge Murloc. There's not a heal Murloc. So,
There's a drawing Murloc though. There's the Sylphin Spirit Walker,
but
and
then
that's actually
you'd have to sacrifice your own Murloc, which I think is impossible. But yeah, Chaoshen just going to pop the block. I imagine he's not going to play anything. There's no real reason to, and just pass the turn and hope that Tom doesn't draw any damage here. Comes down to this. Chaoshen is praying. Blood Mage Thalnos gonna draw off of this. Can't be Pyroblast anymore. And is that Reno?
it says Reno. Oh my god,
Oh my god! Wow!
poor guy.
Wait,
Oh,
does it go? Oh, it went off. Yeah, it went off. Okay.
I feel so bad for Chaos and 29 health here.
Oh my goodness.
And Tom just ecstatic, really happy about it. He looks exhausted here.
Wow, that top deck Reno with the exact mana too. Oh my goodness. So Chaoshen, what do you even do here? Do you just go face? If he goes face, he's dead, by the way, because Tom can use Flame Strike. Looks like he's just gonna use the quality. Looks like we're having a bit of a lag issue. So he's gonna go quality consecrate. No use for that anymore. Imagine he's gonna go for the Murloc plus hero power just to get as much damage as possible. I think. I think you need as much damage as possible, right? Hello? Did we
Yeah, that's true. Now,
sorry.
what could he possibly want here on top of that? That's a tough call. Uh, in terms of filling up the board, he doesn't maybe want to fill up the board. I think, yeah, the Monarch is just more aggressive.
Oh, and the
Now,
Frostbolt in the
Frostbolt.
end, and
So lucky, yeah. Oof.
wow. Well, I mean, to be fair, if he had drawn that Frostbolt instead of the Reno, that could have been something that allowed him to take the win. But yeah, Tom does take the win. Keep in mind that is a favored matchup for him, so not too surprising in the end. But so close for Chaoshen to be able to take that victory. In the end, it's going to be 2-1 in favor of Tom, and for Chaoshen fans, I mean, he does have a reasonable chance against this Hunter. His Reno Warlock will be doing pretty well, and his Paladin does have a lot of heals, as we saw there.
It's going to be extremely dot dependent. He'll need something like the Demon Wrath. He gets the Chow, though. That's a massive start. That's definitely something going in the right direction here. But talk about last game. Chaoshen seems not like he isn't very confident in the booth here playing. He's moving around a lot. Bit emotional to every top deck. Now, we look at the last game. He was way ahead in the early game. Then Tom top decks the Frost Nova and gets back in the driver's seat. Gets the Antonidas, then Chaoshen fights back with the heal bot and the Lay on Hands. Gets the commanding lead, has him on 1 HP, and just loses it again. So I feel really bad for Chaoshen here. He had it twice and lost it twice.
Yeah, just so crazy to even just recap that, right? Chaoshen, he has the Zombie Chow in hand, which is what you want, especially going first. It's about the strongest play you can make against an aggressive deck by getting that out before they even can make a play. So, but yeah, this is just to keep in mind, guys. Every game matters. So even if you don't win overall in your series, it's important to get as many games as possible because there have been ties. There was a three-way tie on the first day, and there were actually two-way ties yesterday. And it will matter how many games you win against certain opponents. So yeah, Chaoshen going with his Warlock first to make sure that he tries to get this win. Even if he goes down in the end, it's important to go down 2-3 instead of 1-3. Chaoshen doing his best life coach impression, wondering whether or not to play the Zombie Chow, but it's probably the best anti-aggro start in the game is turn 1 Zombie Chow, so I don't really know. I guess maybe he wants to be tilting Tom a bit.
Always the mind gives the Chaoshen, yeah. Game after game here. Goes for the. It doesn't fake the no Chow scenario though. No, he may have to live tap here. The Mortal Coil is so good. This is just everything like Chaoshen would need.
Yeah, has the Farseer for the next turn. Doesn't have a 2-drop, unfortunately. The perfect draw here would be that Dark Peddler in turn 2, but Chaoshen bluffing here that he has something to play, though I doubt he would. Yeah, I think if he had a 2-drop here, he would play it, unless it's Dark Bomb. So, or I mean, and if it's Dark Bomb, you're not considering that either. So, looks like Chaoshen.
Might be
just gonna.
Peddler. I mean, yeah, it could be Peddler, but you would just play the
Yeah,
Peddler
I
over.
think you just play the Peddler, right? Yeah. So, yeah, it looks like. Oh, there's the Unseeable Goal.
Wow.
That's something that he would want to play. That is a really anti-aggro card, but yeah, a lot of options here. Unfortunately, wasn't able to get the Unseeable Goal onto, but other than that, looking pretty solid for him.
I mean, yeah, Chaoshen can't complain about luck. After this game, everything going right for him here. This couldn't be any better. And in Gang Boss on top of that, yeah.
Wow.
I think
Yeah,
this has to be Gang Boss.
yeah. I mean, Farseer obviously you heal, but that just gets cleared by the Eagle Horn Bow, so no real reason to go for that over the Inking Boss. She can heal later.
But I mean, top of it, it's still gonna be rough. I feel like this is favorite for Tom. Uh, Now there is he is
So
all
many
in
one
on
cost minions.
Yeah, I mean,
Or one health minion, sorry.
Hellfire. He can just go for the ghoul here and almost win the game on top of that. And Molten Giant on top of everything. Like, what is this? You just draw every single
he
anti-hunter
does
card.
he does need to pick up more healing than Farseer sometime soon, though, to be fair.
But I mean, if this continues, he's going to be top decking,
Reno.
he'll put a Belcher into Reno if this continues.
All right. Well,
Jesus.
it is important for him to make the absolute best turn that he can right here. He's really, wondering whether or not his opponent does have the owl, and that would be huge if Tom, for instance, top decks the owl. And he's guaranteed, Chaoshen is to go down to 15 health. Looks like even going guaranteed down to 13 health, it seems, right here. So,
Mhm.
yeah, huge risk right here, putting that unstable ghoul on the field, and Chaoshen now wondering whether or not he should clear one of these minions.
I guess he's figuring, okay, my hand isn't going to be the best, so there's a risk involved in tapping, but there's also a big risk involved in not tapping and not getting that heal or that hunt
Oh
that I.
no!
He gets the top deck. Oh, are you
Wow!
kidding me? What is up here? Tom getting everything.
Yeah, we were just talking about how Chaosha was really lucky, but that top tag owl basically negates everything, and now he's at 7 health. This Molten Giant's not going to do anything if he just dies the following turn. Shadow Flame is... Well,
Helpful. Yeah.
yeah, it hurts
But
him, so...
but he dies anyway, I guess. But yeah, I mean, are we gonna have to start a new hashtag here? Top deck Tom. This is happening again and again here.
Yeah, right. So,
Go
I
on
mean,
Twitter and show him you love, honestly. Top deck Tom. Hashtag top deck Tom.
right, so it looks like we're 1 damage off lethal for Tom, and he is really worried about that Reno Jackson, it seems, because he put his head back, realizing that, it could be trouble for him. A Huffer would be lethal, however, so maybe he goes for that, and doesn't get the Huffer, which means that Chaoshen lives one more turn. Can he draw the Reno Jackson, or maybe even a Healbot? We see the graphic on screen. That is the key cards. And Healbot is something. That's the second best card that he could have drawn here. So, still alive is Chaoshen, but on his last legs, especially with those, those Leper Gnomes guaranteed dealing the 2 damage each. But yeah, Chaoshen has to navigate this turn very carefully. I mean, I guess you just clear everything up, right? Throw in the Farseer and this Unstable Ghoul, play the heal bots, clear everything else out, and hit 8 to face. And maybe you can race if you don't pick up any more healing, but looking still pretty bad for Chaoshen. Gonna go down to 8, which means that Tom still doesn't have the requisite mana to finish him off. Has 6 damage in hand right now. Let's see if he picks something up that is going to be 1 damage off once more. And yeah, gonna go for the Wolf Rider instead of the Arcane Golem, just in case. Doesn't want to give any mana.
Plays around the taunt, I guess. Yeah, I mean, also possibly.
And that is
This is
going to
not
be
gonna be
it.
enough.
There's
Yeah.
no healing in Chaoshen's hand, no way to get lethal, and no way to draw. So, unfortunately for Chaoshen, it's going to be falling here. I think he realizes it as well. Just count up the damage. We're actually really close to maybe killing his opponent, but yeah, gonna fall short in the end. Gonna tap, and there was.
He gets Reno if he'd gone for the Arcane Golem.
Oh my god! Wow,
If he'd gone
that's
for the Arcane Golem, he would have lost. What is up here?
wow. So yeah, that is absolutely insane. I don't think I would have even tapped there. That's gonna just make you tilt for the rest of the day. I don't know. So yeah, Tom takes it 3 games to 1.